The courtroom was a place where justice was supposed to be blind, where the law was meant to be impartial. But on this particular day, the air was thick with tension. The heavy wooden doors creaked open, and all eyes turned to the woman who entered. She was tall, her skin the color of rich mahogany, her hair styled in intricate braids that framed her face. Her presence commanded attention, and the room seemed to hold its breath as she stepped inside. Officer Dan Harris, a seasoned cop with over 2 decades on the force, stood near the entrance. His eyes narrowed as he watched her approach. Harris had always been a man of strong opinions, and over the years he had developed a certain disdain for those who didn't fit his idea of what a law-abiding citizen should look like. And this woman, with her confident stride and unapologetic presence, didn't fit his mold. He stepped forward, blocking her path, his voice dripping with condescension. The woman stopped, her sharp eyes locking onto his dot. There was a fire in her gaze, a quiet intensity that made Harris shift uncomfortably, but he stood his ground, his hand resting on the baton at his side. The room had gone silent, the tension palpable. Even the judge, who had been about to call the court to order, paused, watching the scene unfold. The woman didn't flinch. Instead, she reached into her jacket and pulled out a small leather wallet. She flipped it open, revealing a badge that gleamed even brighter than the one on her lapel. But it wasn't just any badge, it was the badge of a federal agent. Harris's eyes widened, his smirk faltering. He took a step back, his hand dropping from his baton. The room remained silent, the weight of the moment hanging in the air. Harris stammered, his face turning red. With that, she stepped past him, her heels clicking against the polished floor as she made her way to the front of the room. The judge nodded to her, a silent acknowledgement of her authority, and the proceedings began. Harris stood frozen, his mind racing. He had been so sure of himself, so confident in his assumptions, but now he felt like a fool. He had let his prejudice cloud his judgment, and it had nearly cost him his job as the trial progressed. Harris couldn't help but watch the woman agent Naomi Carter, as he had learned from the whispers around him. She was sharp, her questions cutting through the lies and half-truths like a hot knife through butter. She was everything he had once thought she wasn't: intelligent, capable, and above all, deserving of respect. When the trial finally adjourned, Harris found himself lingering near the exit, his eyes downcast. He knew he had to make things right, but he wasn't sure how. As Agent Carter approached, he stepped forward, his voice trembling. She stopped, her eyes meeting his. For a moment, she said nothing, and Harris felt his heart sink. But then, she nodded. With that, she walked out of the courtroom, her head held high. Harris watched her go, a newfound respect blooming in his chest. He had been wrong, but he was determined to make things right. From that day forward, he vowed to see people for who they were, not what they looked like. And as he stepped out into the sunlight, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had been given a second chance, and he wasn't going to waste it. Justice, after all, was blind, and now so was he.